Good morning. Welcome to Authentic Conversations with Moji. And how are you? What an amazing weekend we just had. Um, while we wait for people to show up, I think I ran a bit late because my watch is off key. Shame on me. But anyways, how are you guys? Hope all is well. Let me get my glasses on while we're waiting for people to show up. All right. Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. Ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi o, bàbá ṣílẹ̀kùn ayọ̀ mi. Yes, sir. Ìbànújẹ́ o, jẹ́ kó jìnnà sílé mi. Wàá múnú mi dùn, bàbá onílé ayọ̀. Ọ̀rọ̀ ayọ̀ mi, má jẹ́ kó pa mí lẹ́kún. For those of you guys that don't speak Yoruba, it basically is saying, open the door to my happiness, oh God. Open the door to my happiness, and whatever brings me joy, may it not bring me tears. Amazing, amazing prayer. I've been singing that song for many, many years because life was just a bit confusing. But anyways, I'm glad you guys are on. So give me 30 seconds. I'll be right back. How are you? What an amazing weekend. Oh my God. How was your weekend? Mine was absolutely fantastic. If you're on there, just say hello to me so I know you're there. And I'm not talking to myself, even though I like to talk a lot. I like it to be a conversation. Authentic Conversation is the name of the show, and my name is Mojisola Wilson. Yes, it is. Anyways, on this show, so we talk about the good, we talk about the bad, and we laugh a lot. Sometimes we have to cry, but it happens. Whatever it is today, we're going to have fun with it. You know, over the weekend, yeah. Hello, Olufisola. How are you? Thank you for joining. Let's see. So over the weekend, yeah, I was working very hard in the studio. A lot of great. It's like all of a sudden I got older and my creative juices are just flowing. So my wife made me a website. I was totally stunned. It's like I had no idea she was building me a website. Who knew? I didn't even know she could be a website. So here we are. So I have a website for Shuku accessories, by the way. So it's called shukuaccessories.com. You guys must look it up. Fabulous pieces, all handmade by me. It's my artwork. I just love creating. I hope you guys get to do what you love to do and not just what you need to do to pay the bills. Anyways, so this past few days, yeah, crazy, but I'm grateful. I'm so grateful to God because I'm 55 years old. I'm finally living. Living, not leaving, which is normally what I do, but I'm finally living. I'm living my authentic life. It took me a long time to get here, and I'm telling you, the life lessons, they're very hard. There was a time in my life that I just didn't want to be alive. I wanted to die because nothing made sense and I didn't feel right and I just didn't feel good about my life. So I made a lot of wrong choices. I made a lot of stupid choices. They seemed like the best choices at that point in my life. But I tell you, sometimes, you know how people always say, everything happens for a reason. It's, honey, for me, I don't know about you. I know for a fact that everything happens for a reason. But sometimes a lot of the reasons is because we're making stupid choices, or we don't make choices on time, or we just choose to take a shortcut instead of going the longer route, right? Let me tell you what I'm talking about today. So over the weekend, yeah, Saturday, I think it was, you know, my wife and I went on this binging where we were watching movies, Nigerian movies. And you know, Nigerian movies, oh my God, they're loaded with all kinds of madness. But we saw this movie where a guy was getting married, and I won't say the name of the movie. But we watched the Nigerian movie. You would never be able to tell it's even a Nollywood movie, right? So I'm telling you. So we watched this movie where the Nigerian guy from the UK, was marrying another girl that he met in the UK. So they decided to go to Nigeria, right? And the girl's family is very affluent and very popular and whatever, and they're always in the news and the blogs and that. But the guy came from a little village somewhere, and he just wanted to marry the girl, I guess, because of her last name. So he dumped the love of his life, that he left in Nigeria, who helped him, by the way, buy a ticket to the UK and set him up in the UK and all of that. Honey. So he met this Shishipu Nigerian girl, goes home with her, tells her parents that he's going to pay for all the wedding. Like, really? So now the mother and the sisters take over the wedding. Totally takes over the wedding, right? Takes over the wedding. Crazy. So they take over the wedding. They're planning the wedding. They're making all these plans. The wedding dress was like 500,000 naira, which is about, I don't know, whatever. A million naira is $3,000. So it's about $1,500. Who does that? So the wedding comes up to about maybe 6 million naira, which is about almost $40,000. And the guy doesn't have the money. So he's now he has to dribble. First thing first, the moment the wife's mother, the fiance's mother, took over the whole show and started ordering these shishipu things and all these crazy things, he should have said something. He didn't say anything because he wanted to be the big man, the big shot, like a lot of people. That he was pretending to be rich, right? They wiped out his whole account. He had nothing. At the end of the day, nothing. So the day of the wedding, he shows up. He had been trying to see his ex-girlfriend because he realized he made a mistake, right? Like a lot of us, we don't speak when we're supposed to because we're trying to play along. We're trying to be nice. We're trying to not rock the boat. We're just trying to exist. So we don't say anything. It's like you meet a girl, she's not really doing it for you. You already know the kind of person she is because all she wants is your money. Or you meet a guy and he's not working, you're working your butts off and he's cheating on you. You're not making the right decisions. You're not telling him, you're not putting your foot down because you want to be in a relationship. So you stay in the relationship, yeah? Dondigitis. That is, look, for you guys that are new, you need to get a notepad. In Moji's world, right here on this authentic conversation, we make up our own words. Dondigitis is a word that we use here, which is, it's an illness. See, when we make wrong choices, it's not because we're stupid. It's because we make wrong choices because we're human. We want to please people. We want to be liked. We want to be accepted. If you become like Moji, your life will be 10 times better because I used to be one of those people pleasers. And then I got to a point in my life where I was in the closet with everything in my life because I had a secret, so I didn't want people to know that I was gay. So I just played along with everybody. And, when you're not your authentic self, you can't make the right decisions. When this guy was pretending in the movie that he was rich, of course, he didn't make the right choices. He was suffering from dondigitis, right? So this guy was suffering from dondigitis to the point where they cleaned out his whole bank account. He had not a penny left. But he still wants going to marry this girl because he figures if he can marry into the family, rule number one, you don't marry any human being for any other reason than the fact that you think, and I always say you think because, look, nothing is etched in stone. I'm madly in love with my wife. So I live every day like it's the last day because you never know what can happen. They could die, or they could wake up one morning and decide, it's not working. I mean, so you go into the relationship believing that this is it. So you put in your all, but you have to go into every relationship, friendship, loveship, because you know that this feels right and it's right. Sometimes things feel right, but you know in your heart that they're not right for you. They might feel right, but they're not right for you. Because a lot of people don't have the courage. It takes a lot of courage to be authentic because when you speak your mind and you're authentic and you put your foot down, people will say you're difficult. People will say you're crazy. People will say all kinds of things about you. But guess what? Nobody's living in your shoes. Nobody's living in your life. So this guy went along with them, right? Went along with them. And he was paying and he was incurring all kinds of bills, and he was in the newspapers. The bloggers were picking him up. He was on Linda KG. He was everywhere. People were talking about him like he was a rock star, not knowing that the damn guy did not have a dime, a pot to piss in, right? Hold on. Excuse me. So then, you know what happened that I really, really loved? So now it's time to do introduction. They tell him, he's from Igbo land. They tell him he can't bring his family. And then they tell him he could only bring 2. And they had to wear a suit. Who does that? Like me, when I was getting married, I was dying. I wanted to be in a Yoruba outfit. I wanted a Yoruba traditional wedding. The guy was told he couldn't, his father had to wear a suit. Can you imagine an Igbo chief coming to his son's wedding, not with the full outfit, not with the cowrie, whatever they call those things that they wear, and the bracelets and the collars and the guy had the balls to go tell his father, sorry, Dad, you can't come. Are you kidding me? You can't come to the wedding unless you wear a suit. Like, really? That's blasphemy. For generations to come, his children would have been cursed. So the poor guy goes to his dad and tells his dad, you can't come unless you wear a suit. And I read your message, Olufisola, and I thought I replied you. Can you imagine? No human with right sense wish to choose wrongly. I know, fire me. No, nobody chooses to. That's the point I'm making. Nobody chooses, but we do make those wrong choices, don't we? I mean, no human chooses to. See, the hardest choices are usually the right ones, because when you have to walk in integrity and walk in truth and walk in transparency, it's hard choices. So no human with right senses wish to choose wrongly, but we do. The key thing here is like the lesson of the day, right? The lesson of the day, right, is that we have to stay honest. Honesty is the best way to go. Bobo, Iyawo, I want to marry you, but I can't afford the wedding dress. I can't afford the $10 million Naira wedding. I can't afford, just go to the, if you want to marry me, you go to the county clerk's office. If that's all we can afford, because you and I are the ones getting married, right? So it's not that we make the wrong choices. Even sometimes you think about it, when you go to a Nigerian wedding, half of the time it's like a freaking carnival. It's like a show. Most people at the wedding, you don't know. How many of you guys know 1,000 people? I've been to a wedding where it was 1,000 guests. And the family, instead of using the money, the couple could have used the money they used for the wedding to buy a house. No. In America, it's not like they could afford it. If you can afford to do something, shuku to you, do it, baby. Shuku to you. But if you cannot afford to do a wedding the way your girlfriend, your wife, or your future wife, or whatever wants it, tell her in 5 years when I'm making more money, I'll do a big wedding. Let's just go to the registrar's office. That's what I will do. But then, you know me, I'm just not like everybody else. And, you know, once you've bumped your head a couple of times, once you've lost everything you've had, you start to think a lot more rationally, because at the end of the day, you don't have to prove anything to anybody but yourself. The only person that you owe anything to is your partner. The moment this guy allowed his wife's family to take over the wedding, he already wasn't getting married, because now he's marrying all 4 sisters. All 4 of them. The daughter, the 2 daughters, the mother, and his fiance. So now the mother chose one musician, Sonny Ade. One of the daughters liked the band, so she booked the band. Another one liked Davido. And the poor guy, all he wanted in the wedding, all this guy wanted in the wedding, he couldn't even choose his own clothing. He couldn't choose anything. All he wanted in the wedding was, this woman that sang Sheon Rere, I forget her name, Mommy Sheon Rere Tiada. Anyways, bottom line is, he decided no. They decided no, he couldn't have that person because it was too bush. And then his name was Chukwumeka something. They changed his name to Smith. On the invitation, they wrote something, Smith. They changed his whole name to Smith. Honey, you want to tell me that's not stupiditis, Bobo? Fire me? You don't think that's stupiditis? He was under the influence of stupiditis. Because why would you allow your spouse or your soon-to-be whatever to change your name from your traditional name on an invitation, on your wedding invitation, to a pseudo name because it sounded more European? Even the Yoruba family, their name was Hernandez. How many Yoruba people come up with the name of Hernandez? They're not Spanish. They're not from Spain. They're not from Mexico. They're not from Colombia. But because it sounded more bougie, they go by the name Hernandez. It's like somebody coming to me and saying Moji is not a good name, or if my name is Shukura and they tell me to change it to Jane. Because why? You just erased my whole identity. See, the guy did not think. He kept going along and going along and going along until booster. He ran out of money. Now he be done that. Now, here's my take on this. He went wrong in a lot of different places, right? A lot of different places. First off, he should have never agreed. He should have never married that girl because she was just not. I mean, the girl is going this way, he's going that way. All she wants to do is shop, 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 and he's trying to build a business. So you know they're already going in different directions. Stupiditis. When you suffer from stupiditis and you're not marrying from the heart, you're not allowing your head to connect with your heart. That's what happens. When all you see is dollar signs and money, when God, your God now becomes money, a lot of stupid choices are made. When I tell people they're suffering from stupiditis, and the only cure is accountability. See, when you're pointing the fingers at everybody, oh, it's her fault, it's a mother's fault. For me, ask my wife, anytime something happens, if somebody comes, if I get into something with anybody, I always say, what could I have done differently? Because until we start taking accountability for our choices, we're not learning those life lessons. Unfortunately, in life, right? In life, let me tell you, you take the class, you pass the class until you even know what class you're taking, Seth. Until you bumped your head, finish, and you have that knot on your head. See, when I tell people I used to, look, you see these two knots? It's because that's where they shaved off the devil's horns, because we all have them. But until you acknowledge that that's pushing you, until you acknowledge the choices that you've made that got you where you are, until you've acknowledged the mistakes that you've made in your life, honey, you'll just keep making the same mistakes over and over and over again. So anyways, so this guy ran out of money now, and the family still wants to hire. First of all, they hired a wedding planner that charged 2 million naira. To do what? Then they tell him what time to show up at the wedding, what time, where he was, and then they told him he couldn't bring his own best friends could not attend the wedding because there were two, all of them were too bush. Oh my God. That is the moment I walk up past. I'm telling you, right there on the spot. I ain't doing it. But he still played along until he ran out of money. Now, he ran out of money. He couldn't pay the mortgage of his house in London. He couldn't even afford to do anything else. Instead of him to have just told the family up front, if you really love this woman, the family offered to pay for part of the wedding. He's the one that said no. So the moment that he told the family that he was going to cover all the bills, look, if the family was paying the bills, they wouldn't be calling Sonia De Davido and Wizkid to the wedding. Absolutely not. It's because he's paying for it. If they were spending part of their money, and it's a wedding, everybody should be invested. We're talking about it's 2020. We are all looking for gender equality. We're calling ourselves feminists. We're doing all these things. And women are doing amazing things, but yet we're expecting men to continue to pay. You guys are I'm a lesbian, so I'm married to a woman. But you guys are expecting men to pay for all the bills. That's crazy. That doesn't even make sense. So this guy runs out of the money, right? Hey, Miriam, long time. He really didn't. I mean, he had money, but not that kind of money. He didn't have that kind of money to spend 10 million. Even if he had 20, 100 million, you don't want to spend 10 million on people you don't know. They had invited 1,000 people. He was only allowed to invite 20 people to his own bloody wedding. Can you imagine, Miriam? Right? He had so much. I mean, a big fool and then some, sis. Oh, Babala, biggest fool, self. No be joke. Yeah, they did. That's why I said it's choices. It's our choices. See, when I was watching the movie, the original Niger thing is like, oh my God, they don't win champ. They did voodoo on him. Then I realized, wait. Voodoo and stupiditis are the same thing. It's just that we created ourselves by not being honest, by not telling the truth, by not setting boundaries. I mean, how are you getting married and everybody else in the wife's family is telling you how you're going to have your wedding? When we were getting married, my wife and I were getting married, we sat down and negotiated. I want this, I want that. Of course, I got most of what I wanted because, I'm special like that. But seriously, my wife had to make decisions. We had to incorporate everything she wanted and everything I wanted, or not everything. We compromised. Some things she wanted, she didn't do. Some things I wanted, we didn't do. I wanted like 500 people. She's like, hell no. My wife is an introvert. So, hey. We only had 75 people. And even then, some of the 75 people I invited, she told me not to invite. And then we compromised and it became that. Stupiditis. I was suffering from delusion of grandeur. Believing that everybody is your friend. Jesus Christ only had 12 friends. Really. He was followed by a lot of people, but he had only 12 friends. These guys' friends, all 6 of them were not allowed to come to the wedding. Imagine if Jesus Christ 12 friends, disciples, could not show up at the Last Supper. That's crazy. So he kept pretending like it was Mr. Darosha, Mr. Rich Guy, and his friends couldn't come. So his friends walked. So now he's at the mercy of the family. Because why? Because he did not put his foot down, because he did not say no, because he did not have boundaries. Boundaries, people. You got to have boundaries with your husband. You have to have boundaries with your wife. You have to have boundaries with your children, and boundaries that your friends don't cross. That's the way to create a fabulous life. That's the way to create a real, authentic, sweet, amazing life. And let me tell you, people are going to come to you and tell you, you're not nice, you're mean, you didn't invite me here. Who needs 500 people at the wedding, really? This woman invited 1,000. At 110,000, no, at 100 and something thousand, whatever it was $1,000 per person. What? Cut the long story short. He ran out of money, and then what? They realized in the end that he wasn't really who he claimed to be. Now, two things could have happened in the very beginning. Of course, once they realized he's not who they thought he was, the music kind of changed. So now they started being disrespectful. Bottom line is, he walked at the end of the day. My point is, a lot of times the most difficult choices to make are the right choices. For instance, if this man had just said, look, your family is rich, yes, but this is the wedding we can afford because I'm not marrying your family, I'm marrying you, right? They could have cut this thing. And then his family was disrespected. So now he has to go home and deal with his family, right? He has to go home and deal with his family that he had totally disrespected and told they couldn't come to the wedding. Then he has to deal with his father that was allowed to come to the wedding, but had to come in a suit and not the traditional outfit. The guy at the, oh my God, this is the best part. The guy at the introduction, I swear to God, they were spraying dollars. The mother was spraying $1, which is 324 Naira. And the guy, the husband, was spraying his wife 100 Naira bills. I mean, like he kept it raining. And the whole family flipped. They told the camera people to go away. They couldn't film it because they can't be seen with the husband spraying 100 Naira bills. I was totally like, my jaw almost fell. And my wife is telling me, why are you surprised? This happens every day. I'm like, whoa. But the lesson here is not the fact that we should all, whatever, with weddings. It's not the wedding issue. It's taking this movie and applying it to my life. That's why I'm sitting here today. Because I sat there and I looked at a lot of things that have happened to me in my life. And it's because I have made stupid choices. I'm not a stupid person, but I have made a lot of stupid choices because smart people, compassionate people, empathetic people make stupid choices. Because sometimes we're suffering from dundigitis, sometimes it's stupiditis, sometimes it's just fearitis, which means you're afraid of the consequences. People are in my inbox talking about how, they had a job and the job is not working out and they want to leave, but they still stay there 3-4 years after I'm counseling them. That's not the fault of anybody but your fault because you don't have the courage to get up and walk. That's nobody else's fault. If your boss is being mean to you and is being rude to you or there's sexual harassment and you're not reporting to anybody, you are the problem. People hate me because, look, a lot of feminists, Nigerian feminists don't like me because I believe in taking accountability for a lot of things. If you're on my public page, your personal page, I can't see your comments, so you're going to have to join us on the public page. Sorry. But anyways, a lot of feminists don't like me because a lot of Nigerian feminists don't like me because my thing is feminism is an action word. It's a verb. Okay, let's take one thing for instance. Look, one of the biggest feminists in Nigeria wrote on her Facebook page a few weeks ago that she went to dinner with a guy and the guy was very misogynistic, but she didn't say anything because she was only there for dinner. Honey, right there, boom, boundaries. You're sitting with somebody, I don't care if you're feminist or Yashukra like me. I'm not a feminist. I look for gender equality because I cannot even compare to myself to a lot of these terrorists on social media. You go out with a guy that's belittling you, that's making you assumptions about you, and you call yourself a feminist. She's one of the loudest feminists on social media. jumping up and down on social media every day, telling women not to take crap from men and da da da. And then she goes to dinner and the guy was treating her like garbage. But she sat there because, according to her, and I quote, "I didn't say anything because I wanted to eat the expensive meal." Honey, women like me will rather drink Gary. I rode a bicycle instead of chatting people up, whatever it was. Go out on dates with whatever, men, women, dogs, cats, it doesn't matter. Instead of me going out with people so that they can buy me a car, I sold my Mercedes and rode a bicycle so I could get myself back in place. The hard choices I'm telling you, the hard choices are usually the ones that net us a better life in the future or even in the moment. Sometimes it's self-respect, Seth. Seriously, because if you want somebody to respect you, you must respect yourself and you must put yourself in a respectful place. You can't be on the clearance rack talking about people are slapping you around. There's a lot of women that are in marriages where the men are beating them up, where the men are disrespectful. Your husband has been cheating on you with 10 different women. Sometimes they even have the same woman that they keep for many, many years. A lot of Nigerian women, you guys look away because you don't want to give up the title of being Mrs. Honey. That's dondigitis. I'm not saying you're a dondio. I'm saying you're suffering from dondigitis. What cures dondigitis and stupiditis? Accountability. Look at yourself in the mirror, butt naked as the day you were created, and say, what did I do wrong here? Because in every relationship, it's a two-way street. In every friendship, loveship, childship, you have something to do and say about it. Sometimes you not saying anything is you saying, okay, keep slapping me. And I talk about this a lot because, look, when you're in a bad relationship, and I've been in horrible relationships a lot of times in my life because I didn't like myself. I've said yes when I should have said no. I've said maybe when I should have said no because I wanted to be liked. I have Facebook friends that I keep on my page. I kept on my page for many years, even though they were disrespectful and they were homophobes and they were being rude and nasty to me because I'm gay. I kept them on my page because I wanted to be with the in crowd. And then about 5 years ago, I woke up one morning and said, you know what? Let me start cleaning this thing out. I went from 5,000 Facebook friends. I'm at 1,700 and something today. And I'm still cleaning out every day. If you don't engage with me, I don't put everybody on my personal page. So please don't send me friend requests. If we're engaged nicely here, then I bring you into my personal life. What I want for the public, I put here. You got to be able to put boundaries around yourself. Boundaries. A lot of times we don't speak up. A lot of times we want to be liked. We want people to think we're better than who we are. Me, I tell everybody I wear wigs. They say my hair. And people are like, oh my God. You really think people are stupid and they think I woke up, my father gave birth to a bush woman from Ijerikiti. My father is from Ijekweri. My mother is from Ilorin. You think I was really born with this kind of hair? You already know I pay for the damn thing. So if I already talk it, you can't abuse me with it. That's my theory. So yeah, it's my hair because I paid for it. Difference. When you're pretending to be somebody else, the universe is not able to give you what it is that you deserve. When you're pretending to be straight, right, and you go and marry, and you're not straight like I did, I knew I wasn't straight. I wasn't sure, but I knew I was not straight. But I married somebody that said it was okay because I told my ex, I'm gay. I think I might be gay. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. At that moment, I should have realized that if he's willing to take me off the clearance rack, then he has no respect or value for me. But the day when I woke up in 2006 and I took myself off the clearance rack, since then I've been flying high. Don't judge your life by how much money you have in the bank. Judge your life by the quality of life that you have. Judge your life by the quality of friends that you have, because you have earned it. You have worked for it. See, when you're pretending to be somebody else, you'll never get the right partner. You'll never get the right husband. You'll never get the right wife. You'll never get the right girlfriend. You'll never get the right boyfriend. I don't care if you're moneysexual, heterosexual, homosexual, green card sexual. Doesn't matter what you are. You're not going to get the right partner, because the moment I started to say to myself, the day I came out to myself and said, hey, I'm gay. I'm gay. I walked up to my ex that same day and said, Bobo, we're done. I mean, you could look, when you're not being your authentic self and you're making stupid choices for stupid reasons, like being accepted, like people not abusing me, like all kinds of stuff, you don't get to live your authentic life. The universe can never find you to give you what is yours. And look, when you look on a tree, the fruits are always on top, right? When you look on a tree, the fruits are on top. Most fruits that are falling down are rotten. They have worms in them. The easiest catch is always the ones that have worms in them. A relationship with no struggles is not a relationship. I'm not saying you should allow yourself to be abused. But look, I met a woman once. We were getting ready to go for marriage counseling, and this woman says to me, "Oh, I have never argued with my partner." I was like, huh? Because, honey, arguments in a relationships, when you are living your authentic life, you're bound to have an argument in your relationship. Things will not sit well with you. It's the way you argue that matters. Authenticity is going to require you to be vulnerable. Which part of being vulnerable is having disagreements with people. It's how you work things out that matters. It's a life lesson I myself continue to learn, because me, I'm quick to walk away. And you're giving me done. After, I was raised with a man that had 12 wives, a revolving door in our home. So yeah, done. What I've learned through therapy and counseling and life coaching is that when you are able to be your authentic self, there will be conflicts. Now, how you create the conflict, how you work the conflicts out is the key. Nothing wrong with disagreeing with your partner, nothing wrong with speaking your mind. My wife and I are two different people, thank God, but we have a lot of things in common. And then she compliments me, so we complement each other. We're able to go like this as opposed to like that. When you're able to, teamwork makes dreams work, they say. So when you go into a relationship and you're not your authentic self, everything will seem great. The woman is like, "Oh, I've never had an argument with my partner in 10 years, honey." I was like, this is not the right marriage counselor. Because if you know me, I speak my truth to a fault. I will tell you even when I write up things about my wife, I talk about the challenges. I talk about these things that we go through. People are like, whoa, people only want to hear the truth. They want to hear the good stuff. Because then it makes them, when you tell your truth, it makes them look at themselves, and you will not be popular. You will not be liked. But the people that you attract will be people that live in truth as well. Right? So when you learn to work through conflicts, you build stronger relationships. You build boundaries. Because until you told somebody, look, but what you did to me was not acceptable and I didn't like it, they'll continue to do that thing and you'll continue to be miserable. So when you live in your authentic life, you are able to attract people that are members of your tribe. Not that you'll always think alike, but people with open minds, people that allow you or give you the permission to be yourself because you're giving them permission to be themselves. So when this man, this woman told me that she has never argued with a partner in her life, I was like, this is not the person I want to counsel me for marriage. I thought, done. We moved on to the next person. Within a year, I found out that she was divorced. Why? Because you keep sweeping everything under the rug. Everything, one day you just trip over it and go, and it's something that's a tiny little speck of sand that should have been picked up or swept away by conversation, by you talking to each other, by negotiating and compromising in relationships, now has become a mountain that you can't chip away. Boom, everything blows up. That's why a lot of times people go, oh, Moji, this, then. I'm like, look, go talk to your partner. You can come talk to me, but until you've had the conversation with your partner, it's kind of hard for me to give you advice on your personal relationship. I know what works for me because my relationship is custom built. You make a budget for your life, for your marriage or your wedding. You make a budget for your vacations. You make a budget for things. Don't go into debt over stupid things that you can't afford just to impress the Indo. I always laugh at Nigerian women because every day they're taking gilly. Every day they're taking gilly. Look, if the person can afford to have the party, honey, tell them not to. And it's one thing if you're doing it because you like that person. I've only been to one Nigerian wedding that I actually bought, I think, well, I didn't even buy gilly. Miriam told us to, I think her color was purple. And the same thing we did at a wedding, we chose colors and people came in their colors. Nigerian people will be going to buy Ashwabi, thousands of dollars. They won't pay their rent in America. They'll go to a party, 10 parties a week. Transparency. Don't suffer from stupiditis. Stupiditis is only cured by what? Accountability. Be accountable for your part in everything that you do. A lot of times you meet a woman, you like the woman, but she's not really but you go along anyways because she's popular, she comes from a good home, she lives in a big house. Or you ladies, you see a guy driving fancy car, you know the guy is not treating you right. He drives you in a fancy car, takes you to eat, like you can't drink garri and a in your house. But the guy is not nice to you. He doesn't respect you. He doesn't respect you because you've allowed him to buy you. On the first day, you're telling him, oh, I can't pay my rent this month. So the guy pays your rent. Now he sees you as an ashewo. And I'm not talking about the ashewo, the kind that when you're in a relationship, you're doing the jiggy in a freaky kind of way. No, I'm talking about money for hand, back for ground. So now the guy treats you like he would treat a pair of shoes that he bought. And you're wondering why that is. Because you have not held yourself in a respect place. You have not spoken, carried yourself in a respectable manner. So the man is treating you like garbage and you're wondering why. I'm going to tell you why. Because the first day when you met this person, you didn't really like his ways, but instead of you to make the right choice, which is to lay the foundation of your relationship, you allowed yourself to suffer from stupiditis. You allowed yourself to be bored. So now when I buy a pair of shoes, I wear it in the rain, I wear it in I step in garbage if I want to. The shoe is the one suffering. I see people always fall off when I start talking about real life. The shoe is the one suffering, not me, because I own that shoe. See, but when you are in a partnership with somebody and you carry yourself with respect, when you love yourself, you'll still make some stupid choices, but you'll analyze the situation well. A lot of young women are out there with sugar daddies flying all over the world and they think they're so special, but honey, you're collecting miles like that. My father's favorite Volkswagen Bug. Yes, you're living the life. Yes, you're carrying a Louis Vuitton bag. But how many houses did the guy buy in your name? When we talk about relationships, a relationship is a partnership, yeah? When you go into a relationship for the wrong reasons, what usually happens is, if you go into the relationship for money, you get treated like some merchandise that the person has bought. They treat you like toilet paper. They don't respect you. They might be generous, but trust me, especially in our culture, he's not being generous to you. My father was generous to all his women. He made sure everybody had a house. He made sure all their kids got good schools. But he kept going out there with a revolving door. Now, if that's what you want for your life, shuku for you. You got it. But if you want a monogamous, respectful relationship, you have to have values. You have to have integrity. You cannot continue to compromise your integrity and think that your life will be fine. It won't be. Look, stupid things we all did when we were younger sometimes comes back to bite us in the face. I'm 55. My God, I've been through hell and back. So a lot of the things that I share with people is so that hopefully people can use my stories and the stories of other people to guide them out of bad situations by making right choices, by saying, hey, Auntie Moji, she didn't like herself. Oh, she went and married the wrong person. She lost lots of money. She almost lost her life. Maybe I should stand still until I know who I am. That's why I always encourage young people to self-actualize before they get into a relationship, because when you know who you are, then you know what it is that will gel with you. But when you're pretending to be somebody else, really, think about it. When you're pretending to be somebody else, you can't attract the right love. You can't even attract the right person. And then here's another idea. Here's another angle. A lot of you guys are in bad relationships, and you know they're bad relationships, but you don't want to give up that title, Mrs. Yeah, I'm married. Honey, when I got divorced, Nigerian women abused me. They wouldn't let me around them. They didn't invite me to parties. Now people, when I have parties, they want to come. I'm like, no. Because let me tell you, everything comes with a price. If you're willing to pay the price when you're younger, to do the work to become your authentic and best version of yourself, you can only attract amazing people. I mean, look, let me be truthful. Okay, so I just made a boo-boo there. When you are light, you will attract mosquitoes. You will attract termites. Termites are those things that eat wood. Like in America, all our homes are built of wood. So if you attract you will attract termites. You will attract all kinds of bugs. But it's up to you to decide what works for you. It's up to you to decide who you're going to let into your life. Everybody is not your friend. Even when we're talking about friendships, everybody's not your friend, let alone when we're talking about relationship. Just because somebody looks good does not mean they are good. Sometimes the person that is giving you all the money in the world, that is throwing money at you in the very beginning, is not the right person for you because they're trying to buy you. Mind you, I'm not saying you should go out with some breeze or if you're a lawyer, go out. Let me tell you, I am one of the most people, I was one of the most bougie people in the past. But what I realized was I was running away from who I am. A lot of times we do that and we try and dumb ourselves down. So because we're not happy with who we are, because we don't even know who we are sometimes, we pick the fruits on the floor instead of striving for the best. It got to a point where I said, Miriam, you remember that, right? Yeah, Miriam says, that's it, love yourself. It got to a point where once I started to fall in love with myself, honey, let me tell you something. Personally, I knew I wasn't doing this anymore. I'm not settling for anything. I'm not making friends with fancy people. I, Moji, deserve to make friends with quality people. I also have friends that are not, I hate to say the same level, but I have friends, like I hang out with 25-year-old kids, people. My oldest daughter is 30 and I have 20-something-year-old friends because they have common sense. Everybody has something to bring to the table. They have something you can learn from them. It's not the age that matters. Somebody could be 75 years old and still be suffering from stupiditis because they have not taken accountability for their lives and their part in most of the things that happens to them. So when you start to love yourself, when you fall in love with yourself, you will have boundaries. You will know that, if I have a friend that's a liar, if I know somebody that's a liar, they can't be my friend. I'll know them from afar. If I have somebody, I cannot have people that cheat in my circle because it's just, I don't want that energy around me. We all resonate a frequency. You and I resonate a frequency. The frequency because I believe hugely in calibration. See, God gave us everything we needed on earth, everything. I wear stones, I make them, I string them. Every stone has a purpose. Hematite cleans your blood. Tiger's eye wards away evil. Lapis, purple lapis is like peace, royalty, good things. I wear it every day because it attracts those energies and spirits to me. Bible toting people, before you start bouncing up and down, honey, I'm a minister. I'm a clergy. I became certified a few days ago. But when you read the Bible and you read the whole Bible, if you're a Christian, or you read the Quran, you'll understand that there's so much that starts and stops with us. Because when God said, I created you in my own image, even though I'm not Nepalicious, God created me in his own image, which means he already gave me everything I need. I just need to go within. And every challenge is not the end of the world, folks. I'm still here. My life is a testimony of the grace of God. My God, how many mistakes have I made in my life? A lot. But that's how you become fine-tuned. It's like gold. When you see gold, it's dirty, it has dust and mud and kinik on it. You have to wash it. Once it's washed, then it goes through the fire. They melt it down to take out all the impurities. So if you're going through shigidi right now, if your business is struggling, if you're going through a rough relationship, go through counseling, do whatever it is. But understand that there's a lesson. All the lessons that I've learned in my life is why I'm sitting here today, able to have conversations with you. If my life had been smooth, I wouldn't have life lessons to bring to the table, right? If everything I've done in my life has always been successful, I wouldn't know what failure, without knowing what failure is, you don't know what success is. I wouldn't even know what success is. It will just be like right? So when you're like gold, when you're going to have to go through the fire, you're going to have to go through a lot to get where you're going. Olufisola says, you're just talking to me this afternoon, Auntie Moji. Just really confused. Living in Nigeria is living for what people will say, honestly, man. But that's your choice, Olufisola. You need to stop telling people, giving people your power by thinking you're living for what people will say. When they say what they say, does it pay your bills? Does it pay your rent? You know, the moment, let me tell you something. And for you guys that are heterosexuals, no offense, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Look, for you guys that are sitting out there saying, oh, people will talk. They will talk about you anyways. They talked about me when I was straight. They talked about me when I thought I was straight. They talked about me when I had 3 businesses, a restaurant, the best Nigerian restaurant in my village in New York. I had a talent management company. I had Enel Loja, Kokradon, Osazogadoro, and a lot of people as my talents, yeah. And I owned a real estate office with 22 agents. They talked about me then. So when I fell and I decided, look, I just need to stand still and focus on God, because I kept hearing God saying, focus on me, focus on me, focus on me, right? When I decided to focus on God, they still talked about me. They're going to talk about you anyways. Then I came out and said I'm gay. They talk. Last week, Linda Ikeji, I was trending on Linda Ikeji. People were shredding me like crazy. You think people in America abuse me? I go to the grocery store with my wife, they abuse us. But they will never say to our face. Success is the best revenge. Let me tell you something, Olufisaya. You can't live your life for people. I don't know your story, and I'm not going to ask you, please don't put it out here. You can inbox me. I'm going to tell you something today. Living your authentic life comes with a price. You're not going to have a lot of friends, but you'll have a lot of people that admire you for the courage you have to live your truth. I'm a gay woman. I was going I was in church for 15 years. People kept saying, oh, gay people are going to hell. God doesn't like gay people. So I believe the stupid thing. I was suffering from stupiditis. So I lived my life pretending to be straight. Because I was pretending, I couldn't find the right partner. I got married at 36. 36. Go and write that down. I got married 6 years old. Yeah. I was over 30 when I got married. To a man, because people were talking, people were saying I was miserable as hell. And I tried to kill myself 3 times because I was miserable. Not because I didn't have money, not because I couldn't eat. I had cars, I had, name it, I had it. But I was miserable on the inside because I was afraid of what people would say. That's what I call stupiditis. It's an illness. It's lack of self-love. It's not that you're stupid, but it takes courage and accountability to be able to be healed from stupiditis and dondigitis. When you are suffering from stupiditis, you start to suffer from dondigitis as well. Because dondigitis is where you start to make stupid choices. That's when you start to allow people to manipulate you. That's when you start to allow people to take money from you, or beat you, or steal from you, or cheat on you, because you're not living your authentic life. See, when you start to recover from stupiditis and dondigitis, that's when self-love comes in. And then you stop worrying about what people will say. Let me make you laugh. So my wife doesn't like birthdays, right? Doesn't want me to tell anybody her birthday. Doesn't want me to have a party. I said, Miriam, you know my wife very well. I said, let me have a party. 2 years ago, I said, let me have a party for you, because I like parties. I don't get invited to a lot of parties, so I always find any excuse to have one. And then invite people. So I said, let me have a party for you. My wife was like, no, I don't want a party. I said, okay. How about I have 5 friends over? No, okay. Negotiate and compromise. So I said to her, I'm going to have 30 days of birthdays for you. She's like, do whatever you want. She negotiated. The negotiation here was, I'm not going to throw a party, and I promise not to tell a single soul the day of her birthday. Right? Negotiating and compromising. When you love yourself, my wife could have easily said, if she was suffering from dondigitis, she would have said, okay, have the party just to make me happy. And me, if I was suffering from selfishness, would have said, okay, I'm going to do it anyways, but I didn't. So we negotiated and we compromised because we both love each other. Stop. Because we both love each other, right? So bottom line is that at the end of the day, what we did was, got to celebrate her for 30 days. And I wrote these beautiful things up about her that I felt, because most of you guys wait till your partners die before you tell the world how you feel about them. Me, I was in the closet for 40 years. I'm not playing that. And we went along with it. Bottom line is that when you love yourself, you build boundaries. When you love the other person, you respect. Can you check the door? Somebody came to the door. Check the door. Tell him I'm doing a show. I'll come back. Sorry. I'll come look for him. Bottom line is that at the end of the day, what you do is when you love somebody truly, you respect their boundaries and they negotiate and compromise with you. So in reality, we have to be true to ourselves. Shuku to you, Miriam. This is why I have friends like Miriam. Because look, if you're the smartest person in your group, there are days that I'll do something. I'll be going through something and I'll call Miriam and say, hey, what do you think? And she'll give me an opinion. It doesn't mean I'll do it. But you have to surround yourself with people that think slightly different from you sometimes, but always people that have the same principles, integrity, compassion, empathy, and all of that, right? That's it. But this young man, going back to this story, this young man fooled himself into believing that he could live a lie. You can't. So just start off by being your authentic self so that the universe can bring you the right people. At the end of the day, let me tell you, he didn't marry the rich girl because he was marrying her for the wrong reasons. He ended up going back to apologize to his village girlfriend. And I hope to God they lived happily ever after. But the moral of the story is we have to be true to ourselves. When we're not true to ourselves, we tend to suffer from stupiditis, and we tend to suffer from what? Dondigitis. Dondigitis is where we allow other people to manipulate us and use us like toilet paper and throw us out. When we love ourselves, when we truly love ourselves, we set boundaries. When we truly love ourselves, we set boundaries, and we are accountable for our actions. If we don't want to do something, we say no. No is a complete sentence. There's no reason for me to be explaining to somebody at 55. Even when I was younger, I used to think I had to tell people, oh, I can't come out today because, no, I'm 55. I don't know when I'll die. Are you kidding me? I live every day to the fullest. Even if you're 10 or 20 or 18 or 16, start now. Start now. Start today. Look in your world and ask yourself. I mean, look in your world and ask yourself, are you in the right relationship? Is this relationship helping me grow? Is this relationship pulling the best out of me, challenging me to be the best version of myself? Before I met my wife, I'd been to 2014. We met in 2016. 2014, I was going to school to become a minister before I met my wife. And then I dropped out because I'm like, the Bible is only for heterosexuals, but I still believe in God. So I started this thing. And then when we got married and I fell out of church, I stopped going to church, period. Because church had broken me. They had told me I was an abomination. They told me all kinds of stuff. It's not God. I didn't have a fight with God. I had a fight with churches. And I went to 15 different churches for 15 years. One church, I was in there for 5 years. Usher, Kiniko. Well, because I didn't love myself, I believed their lies. Because I didn't love myself enough, I didn't do the research. Because the research is in Google. So when I started to fall in love with myself, I was able to see clearly that God and I have no beef. I'm actually a super fantastic human being with a lot of bad habits, yeah. So I had to fix all those things before I could even recognize that my wife was the one. So if you are not living your authentic life, you cannot, even if the best man, if you're straight, comes to you, or the best woman, if you're straight, you won't recognize her, because what you don't have in you, you can't see in others. Right? Are you with me? Are you able to understand me? Right? Yeah. So I live my life to the fullest these days. So bottom line is that I stopped going to church. I stopped going everywhere. And then I met my wife, and I'm doing my Buddhism mixed with Christianity, mixed with a little bit of whatever. And I created my own thing. And I said, I'm now an omnist. I believe in God. I try to be Christ-like, but I never use the word Christian. So then we tried to get married, and, all of a sudden we couldn't find a Yoruba Alaga or anything like that. So I said, this is crazy. So we designed our own wedding. About a year ago, I started telling my wife, I'm like, look, maybe we read the Bible to each other at home in the morning. We do our morning devotions, we meditate in the morning and all that stuff. We sit down for 10, 15 minutes. We don't speak to each other. We just zone in on everything we want. It's called calibrating and visualizing. Like, for instance, I sat in my, I used to sit in my basement in this house that I lived in. My bedroom was in the basement because I gave the kids the 3 bedrooms upstairs. And I would envision myself in a big house, right? But mind you, I'm living in a 3-bedroom, tiny little townhouse, but I envision myself, because what you cannot dream, you cannot have. Thing is, you have to be patient to get there. So I used to envision myself in my home, right? In this big house, in a beautiful neighborhood, and let me tell you, I'm not a witch. People always say, oh, it's because you wear the beads. It's not the beads. It's the meditation. It's a focusing all your energies on what you want and not what people want for you. When I was saying, I'm going to find a partner who's Nigerian. She must be out. I'm telling God, my tongue is the biggest weapon. I was telling God, this is what I want. And God says, ask and I will give you. The thing is that when God is giving you, you too must be open to receive it. A lot of you guys are so cluttered up. You are so full of, you need to take some Malox or something to get rid of the in you. Because until you get rid of the in you, you cannot receive what you want from God. It's not a lie. It's just a karmatic effects of the whole thing. So anyways, I've been dreaming about, this is what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. And little by little, I went from a 2-bedroom apartment with 4 kids after I lost the 3,000 square foot house. And I would sit there and I would meditate and calibrate and, envision myself, like really see myself living in this massive house and it didn't happen right away. I went from a 2-bedroom to a 3-bedroom. I went from a 3-bedroom to a townhouse, an apartment to a 3-bedroom apartment to a 3-bedroom townhouse with a finished basement. So I was growing gradually. See, problem is that most people want to go from 0.1 to 1,000 immediately, so they're miserable. But instead of counting, if you did not go through what I went through, which is having a lot and then having zero, literally homeless at one point, and then gradually building. By the time I met my wife, I was totally loving myself. I had stopped allowing people to use me, to abuse me. I started to build boundaries. Hey, she told me that's one of the things that she liked, because I didn't take a lot from people. I was very nice, so always very nice. I will give you my head if you need it. But one thing I did not allow to do was I did not compromise my integrity. My moral compass had been fixed by the time I met her, because my God, she's such a stickler. Everything is like, has to be this way. But a lot of fun. And then she told me when we met, she's like, where do you want to live? I'm like, I don't know. I go find the house. I found it. And we did it the way. And then we kept moving. I live in a house with a goddamn elevator, a movie theater, and wine cellar, and all that stuff. But it came with a price. It came with a price. See, when I was homeless, if I had gone and shagged up and said, oh, this gay life is too hard, and gone to shag up with a man or married a man or got a boyfriend or whatever, instead of working towards my goal, I wouldn't be here today. Authentic Conversation is the name of the show for those of you guys that don't know. So please share the video and let your friends hear this. It's very important that people understand that if you want the best for your life, you're going to have to pay the price. The price is not sleeping with somebody else. The price is building yourself. If you want a good relationship, you need to become some of what you're looking for at the very least. Some. And you have to allow your authentic self to show. Or else, if you do not allow your authentic self to show, you will not find an authentic partner. You will not get the person that was created for you. Let me give you an analogy. If your name is Chukwumeka and you change it to Chuks, this messenger will find you. If your name is Mojisola and you change it to Mojisola, separate, messenger will find you because you're still who you are. But if you go and change it to Mary Jane, Jane Doe, blah, 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 because you think it's a cute name, you might miss your blessings. There's a lot of people in this world that are walking around pretending to be who somebody else wants them to be. as opposed to who God created them to be. For many years, I too pretended. For many years, I suffered from esophagitis. For many years, I hated myself because I allowed the world to tell me that the way God created me was wrong. And the moment I started to build a relationship with the universe, I started to love myself, because then I could see in each step of the way that God was showing up. Because when God says, focus on me, and I don't care if you're Muslim, Buddhist, whatever it is that you are, when God says, focus on me, and you start to believe that God is the source and everybody else is just a resource, things will fall into place and people will think you're a witch. People will think, oh my God, how did she get that person? You will be sitting at tables with kings and queens and presidents and senators and things like that of countries, not even Nigeria. Because somebody inboxed me yesterday on IG and said, Auntie Moji, I'm poor. How I have nothing. I'm like, look, honey, be yourself. Be your true self. If I was not on my show, like just like they're saying, oh, and by the way, I'm not straight, I'm gay, my wife would never have found me. Authenticity is key. I'm not saying you should go and sit on Facebook and say you're gay in Nigeria, no. But when you live your authentic life, the universe will give you everything you need and want. You might not get everything you need, you want, but you will get everything you need. Being grateful will get you a lot of places, because even at the worst moments in my life lately, because I'd been homeless for about 7 months, and a friend of mine who's on my Facebook page took us and me and 4 kids in, sleeping on the floor on the mattress after coming from a $10,000 bedroom set. It made me realize and appreciate every little moment in my life. May you never go through Job moments like I did. But there's life lessons to be learned from every situation if we choose to see it. The only way to cure stupiditis is to live an authentic life. That's the only way. Only way. The only way to cure stupiditis. 3 recipes: authenticity, integrity, and accountability. Because until we become accountable, we do, and the choices we make, we can't see where we go wrong. We can't see where to fix our steps. We can't see where opportunities and doors are. So today, I'm going to leave you with 3 things: integrity, accountability. Integrity, accountability. And what? Boundaries. Boundaries are one of the hardest, because boundaries is knowing, like during this COVID period, a lot of my friends want to come over for dinner, want to come and hang out, and I said no. My son has asthma, and God forbid, I'm 55 years old, the kid might even catch corona, come home and give it to me and I die, or worse, something happens to my wife. So since February, we've been just in our own little space. It's hard to create boundaries around yourselves, but it's the most important thing in life. Choosing who you want to spend your valuable time with. Time is the most precious thing you can give anybody. It's the most expensive thing we all own. A lot of you guys complain about this person, that person, but you go and sit on their pages and you're talking, or you talk about how this show is bad and you sit there. Me, I believe in quantity, not quality. I could have 100 views. My show the other day that Linda Ikeji picked up, I had 220 views on it, and it hit the blogs all over Nigeria. 220 views. And the people, when I talk about garbage, I get 60,000. When I talk about this garbage stuff, topics, I get 60,000 views. I get 20, 30,000 views. I decided to do what sits well with my soul, which is transformational shows. Shows that 1, 2 people, maybe 3, if I'm lucky, will get off that show and say, maybe I need to think about something differently. Maybe I could do something differently, because the more we change ourselves, the more we can change the world. My wife always tells me, Moji, ocean, boil the ocean 1 cup at a time. And that's what we all need to do. We all need to start with ourselves. Miriam, I miss you on this show. Welcome back. It's good to have you back. And you and I need to start doing shows together, by the way, because I like your perspective on life. Sometimes Miriam and I don't see eye to eye. That's why I love her. Because you need people around you that will challenge you to think out of the box. It's like, I'm talking to my wife one day, and she's like, I said, you know, you're a realist. You always, because me, the house will be burning down. I'll be telling you, oh, maybe it's God's way of helping us to keep the house warm. My wife is plotting, how are we going to jump out the window, get some water here to, yeah, I'm like, oh, maybe it's the will of God. So I had to learn to balance those kind of that kind of mentality that I had in the past. And now, you know, one day she's like, why are you people like thinking about the cup being half full, and you know, pessimist is thinking, oh, it's half empty. Realist, they already drank the water. I was like, oh, you know, so you need to be around people that challenge you. You need to be around people that challenge you to be the best version of yourself. Best version. I'm 55. I'm designing jewelry. I'm designing handbags. I'm designing knit masks and scarves, and I'm making all kinds of stuff because I love to make things with my hands. You should push yourself. Be with people that want you to succeed. You know, stop being hanging around with people that want you to give them everything for free. Boundaries. You know, be with friends that buy from your stuff. People are buying my things from all the way from Nigeria, London, everywhere. You know, and that's what support looks like. Not people that want you to give them everything for free and milk you to death. I'm not saying don't give people stuff. I give people stuff all the time. But it's because I want to, not because I forced to, or because they like me, or speak well about me. They'll take the stuff and still speak about me anyways, right? Because that's human nature. But love yourself enough to be true to yourself, to be very straightforward, to understand that you are freaking amazing because God created you the way He saw fit. Understand that your partner is waiting for you out there. My wife has taken me all over the world. We've been normally every 2 months, because when we met, I'm like, you know, I've been a parent for 20 something years. At that point, I've been a parent for 27 years. My oldest daughter is 30. Yeah. And I had 3 businesses. I had so many businesses, I couldn't travel. I was running all these businesses. My wife was like, what do you really like to do? Because some people, they like Louis Vuitton, they like shoes, I love shoes, but I don't buy them anymore. Corona taught me that stuff is not important. Time is. I used to collect shoes. I started giving them away. But anyways, she said, what do you like to do? I said, I just want to travel. Because I used to travel through my kids. I'll pay for an adult to take my children to Europe, to London, to Paris, So we started traveling every other month because she travels to work anyway. So I'll tag along and go places. But imagine if I wasn't living my authentic life, I would never have met my wife. If I was not standing still and saying I'm not dating anybody that's married, or God forbid, Nigerian lesbian women in the closet that are married to, they start talking shit about me. Mention my name in a group with Nigerians. They'll say, she's a moral police because I said I'm not dating anybody that's married. But if I did not stand my ground, where would you find a 50-something-year-old woman, lesbian, that's never had a child, that's never married a man? Think about it. Even me, I was married to a man before, because I lived a lie. And my wife came because I was ready, because I had paid the price to be my authentic self. So no matter where you're going, no matter where you are, understand that it's going to be okay. Understand that even if you had the bad relationship before, being in the closet is not the be, because you cannot love a person in their entirety. If you're in the closet, you cannot love a person in their entirety. If you're married to the opposite gender, you cannot love. You cannot even receive the love because you can't be open. I was that person. And let me tell you, I learned a lot about doing things with love, because I used to be very harsh. Oh my God, if I went through this, why can't you do it? And I realized that everybody's on a different journey. Yes, everybody's on a different journey, and sometimes they're not where I am because they're still learning their own life lessons to get their own wings, like a butterfly. The processes a butterfly goes through. You know, before I got my butterfly wings, I went through a lot. That's why my symbol, I have it tattooed on my body. I have it everywhere, butterflies, because they go through so much metamorphosis. They look ugly as a moth, then they become something else, then they become a caterpillar with a furry and 100, and then they become gorgeous with beautiful colors because they've been through hell and back, just like gold. just like gold. And just because you've had a failed relationship or a failed marriage, or because you dated a married person before, or because you were in the closet before, it doesn't make you a bad person. It's part of learning. Every bloody thing we've been through, even the stupid choices we've made, it's not because we're stupid, it's because we're suffering from stupidities. And once we look at ourselves and said, I cheated on my husband, or I cheated on my wife, or I did this, I'm not a bad person. I made a mistake. Apologize and move on. And then take that life lessons. Accountability makes you take those life lessons into your new relationship. Into your new relationship. If you like Louis Vuittons, buy it. Shuku to you. If you like to eat like me, learn to cook too. Shuku to you. And people laugh at me and they say, oh my God, she's crazy. She builds houses. She's in construction. She makes jewelry. She does this. I am living a life filled with fire. I am living a life that people wish they could, but they're not willing to pay the price, because you can't have it all. You can have some things here, there. My resume is long. I'm multifaceted. I'm not white bread, honey. I am whole wheat with 7 grains and nuts. And it takes a special kind of person to see that. It takes a special kind of person to see that. My name is Mojisola Wilson. I could sit there all day and talk to you guys. I really love to talk. If you're going through anything and you need some conversation and you need help, know that I'm here. I'm a certified life coach. Certified. I went to training to do this. And I also have my own experiences. And I'm grateful for the past few years, because what it has taught me is that I have to do things with love. And I have to meet people where they are. Yes, my guidance is important. Or my opinions is important, rather. But it's more important where they want to go, not where I see them. See, sometimes I see people as diamonds, and they are just coming out of the ground with dirt and filth all on them. But I see them as diamonds, but they can't see themselves like that yet. And I have learned to accept people where they are and stand by them and use my light to guide them out of whatever darkness that they're in, and allow them to make the choices for themselves. If you're going through something and you need advice, inbox me. I'm not going to spend 10 hours with you on the phone. No, I won't do that, because you have to pay me for my time at that point. But I will give you guidance to get you from point A. Because sometimes people tell you, oh, look at the light in the tunnel. Honey, there was a point I didn't see any light. I didn't even see the tunnel, let alone the light. Those were the times I tried to commit suicide. But I know that that's not the way. And the last time I tried to commit suicide, I must tell you, God said, I have a purpose for your life. Focus on me. When he told me to come out of the closet, I'm like, hey, I'm already out of the closet. I don't need to tell the world. And he said, I have a purpose for your life. And I came out, and the world slaughtered me. But along the way, I got my wings. And then I got the colors in my wings, which attracted my beautiful, amazing, super fabulous wife. You too can get your wings. You too can get to your promised land. You too can have an amazing life. But you have to walk in truth. You have to walk with integrity. You have to stop compromising your integrity. We all make mistakes. We all make bad choices. Sometimes it's because we're suffering from stupiditis. The only thing that kills stupiditis, my friends, is what? It's accountability. Accountability is actually what helps us to see where we need to go. My name is Mojisola Wilson. Authentic Conversation is the show. Please support the movement by buying a t-shirt. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt, inbox me. Go to my new page. My wife built me a website. Oh my God. It's called www.shukuaccessories.com. The name Shuku came from me always giving people Shuku. So anyways, go there and support, because we have a not-for-profit called the African LGBTQ, where we helped endangered LGBTQs all over the world, really. Mentorship, whatever it is that they need, that we feel they need. Mentorship, counseling, all that stuff. We try and get it to them. And I know a lot of you heterosexual Nigerians don't understand the concept, but Look, you don't have to. We're all human beings. I'm not going to change your mind about who I am because I know who I am. And I know that God loves me and created me the way he saw me fit. And I am now a minister. So call me Minister Moji from now on. But I'm not one of those fanatics because I've seen all the insides. I've seen the back doors of pulp. I've walked with enough pastors in my lifetime to know the truth that God just wants us to love each other as humans. So my religion is love. I became a minister so I can help my LGBTQ, marry my LGBTQ people, all over the United States. So I'm certified to, officiate weddings now. I'm so proud of myself. You can't, when you live your authentic life, you just start glowing, I wish my hair would grow, but it doesn't, so I buy it. But anyways, so bottom line is, buy some t-shirts, go to the Shuku website and buy www.shukuaccessories.com. Get some masks, get some bracelets, buy something. 10% of whatever we earn goes to charity, African LGBTQ and other charities all across the world. My name is Mojisola Wilson. I thank you for giving me your time as I give you my time. Share the video, please, and so other people can start to grow. Our job is to heal the world with love. That's it. Love. If we start loving each other, maybe people will see how valuable they are too. But love starts from here. Inbox me if you want to chat about issues. I am a married woman, so don't come and tell me you have a crush on me. Not acceptable. But on a serious note, you'd also know that I believe I'm a comedian in my head. So if I insulted anybody today, please forgive me. It's not intentional. But some truth is very hard to hear sometimes. Namaste. May our tomorrow be better than our today. But I hope our today is super fantastic.